Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories. Today, we're talking about the worst mistakes you've ever seen or made, Part 3. The town was gathered for a tournament of various skills. Someone we knew was a villain was there, and she poisoned our wizard the previous night. My character was already hostile to her. She comes up and acts all friendly because she doesn't know that we know she's evil. I hit her with my bow in a melee attack, and it starts a whole riot that 7 people died in. None of them were players or the evil lady. So you just killed 7 bystanders in a riot. Good job. I played a lawful good Goliath Rune Knight fighter who had a strict moral code. Help out those in need. Never harm, seemingly harmless, or surrendering enemies. He cannot start fighting until provoked, always engage in diplomacy first. In that campaign, I gave many people and creatures the benefit of the doubt with no reservations. As such, the character was way too trusting, and he got backstabbed more times than I can count. Fortunately, with Goliath and fighter stuffs, he was more than capable of clapping back tenfold. Now, before you ask, the dude's intelligence was actually fairly good. It was his wisdom that made him suffer. Yeah, common sense, not academic knowledge. Playing through Dragon of Icepire Peak, as it's my first campaign getting into D&D. Congratulations! First fight with the dragon after not encountering it until level 5. The fight goes relatively well, and I throw what is essentially a wild magic potion at the dragon. Later in the fight, my druid uses Call Lightning and gets the killing blow, only for the wild magic to kick in and reincarnate the previously white dragon into an amethyst dragon. So what does an amethyst dragon actually do? Leave it in the comments below, I'd like to know. In my first homebrew campaign, I had my party seek out the Power of Reflection, which was a location tied to one of the PC's backgrounds. The only way to get to that location was to cross a salt flat on summer solstice after it had rained. The PC was supposed to receive a Vorpal short sword. He, being a monk, could have used it, but he decided to give his family heirloom to the assassin. Fast forward about 4 months and they're facing off with the big bad evil guy. She was a humanoid who let a god of darkness use her as a vessel and essentially became the new god. Well, after a traditional villain big bad evil guy monologue, it was initiative time. Everyone rolls decent except for the assassin. Nat 20. The assassin takes the reins and charges in. He makes his singular attack. Nat 20. At this point, dm.exe stopped working, and I needed a few minutes to compose myself, as the players were laughing and cheering him on. Yes, I was trying to be kind of glitchy there. So, well, I went with it. Sure, it was a super underwhelming way to cheese the fight, but we still talk about it to this day. Listen, assassins can either make or break an entire campaign with that, and I love them for it. Alright, so I was running a Christmas one-shot. Yes, I love holiday one-shots. At the beginning, I had Santa give the party 1 item, and they chose a one-shot sword. How the sword worked was it could one-shot anything. However, it would also kill the user. Also, the sword was a single-use item, so the fighter chooses to kill Santa to steal his bag. However, I planned on having Santa be an evil Santa. The worst thing was that a necromancer brought him back to life. Never made a one-shot sword again. Also, your party's a bunch of creepy murder hobos for killing Santa. The campaign was through Mirkwood Forest, where a bunch of survivors attempted to hide away through hollowed-out tree stumps amongst layers of moss like a makeshift hideaway. A bunch of wolves didn't discover the scent, as it was in hollowed-out trees literally in the tree line, and overlooked it. However, a player decided it was a good idea to indulge in, let's see, hallucinogenic substances, while in a confined space devoid of darkness, and in extremely close proximity to an oxygen tank. A large muffled pop was heard, followed by a trail of smoldering smoke, which eventually led to the total party kill as the wolves just kind of shredded everyone. Yeah, don't let druggies do that stuff. our rogue suggested I wait and skip my turn so he could do his stealth thing and clear the dungeon for traps. I carry a warhammer. Stealth and patience are not in my half-orc barbarian's vocabulary. One wrong misstep later and my half-orc barbarian was roasted like a chicken due to triggering several flame traps at once. Then, failing a dexterity check to fall into safety, and got well and truly deep-fried by excess flame traps when I hit the ground. Moral of the story: when the rogue suggests patience, it's usually a good idea. I'm new to D&D. Welcome to D&D, and my cousin has been my DM and my mentor. We're about a month's worth of one session a week play into the campaign, and I'm in a bit of a sticky situation. A caravan that my cousin's character and mine got stopped by bandits. So I figured we'd probably get killed. My character's level 2. What did I do? Walk up to the bandit leader, find out his plan for stealing stuff and killing people, so I sneezed my Dragonborn's ice power at him. He dodged it, so I punched him. He laughed. A level 36 black Dragonborn. We fight one-on-one, are circled by his onlooking bandits, and I managed to do some surprising damage on him, until he lances me pretty bad, and I'm lying on the ground. I compliment his fighting skills and propose a deal that lets me live so I can one day fight him more properly with more experience on my shoulders, hoping my first character would not die so early. Well, I rolled an nat 20 on persuasion. He agrees, then knocks me out and takes me to his village, which is pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Now I find out I'm pretty much stuck there until his upcoming harsh training with me is complete. Meanwhile, a friend is waiting to be rescued somewhere, and my traveling companion / cousin is basically like, well, you made a deal, I'm rich, so my family can pay the ransom to get me out of here. Thrice blast it. We were inside the belly of a giant undead whale in the middle of the ocean, which was filled to the brim with snake parasites with drill-like teeth. Ugh, that's gross. My character enchanted a golden coin with prestidigitation and minor illusion, and flung it as far as she could. The explosion sends the parasites towards the source and freed us from the burden of nearly half of them. The problem was that the parasites, guided by my throw, attacked and mauled to death one of the people we were trying to save. Her husband immediately throws a spear that almost reduced me to 0 hit points, and I was forced to kill him next turn. 2 innocent people died because I flipped a coin. This wasn't my mistake, but oh, it was epic. Spoilers for Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I have a little note here that says that the editor of this actually remembers the room, and it sucked because they almost TPK'd. So let's see what this person got into, though. Team got into a room where one of the characters started to hear a voice that said it would tell her where the king's coffin, we needed the king's hand to open a door, was. If she will destroy the statues in the room, that was some kind of dwarf gods. She destroyed the first one, from which jumped out a demon, which then destroyed the other statues, from which 3 more demons appeared. After a while, they started a fight. We were losing, and my friend, the ranger, decided to flee and teleported himself through a wall, where he alone faced 3 giant cockroach monsters and died. Alone. Like a coward. So my first ever game, first ever character, first combat. This sounds like it's going to end really badly. Gnome Druid has a sling with some bullets, and the party charged too close to some were-rats. My turn comes up, and I decide to shoot the rat with my sling. DM asks me if I'm sure. 13-year-old me didn't know the weight of those words. Then he asks me to roll attack. Then he rolls. Rolls again, and then asks me to roll damage. I thought I did well. Turns out I downed the elf ranger and basically set us up for failure because he's our only healer. Whoops. So what, did you just miss and accidentally hit the elf? I'm playing in my first campaign, and I'm playing a Skaven Warhammer Rogue Assassin. The party is in a town when another rogue and I decide to break into a wealthy man's house we had been in the other day, having seen the combination to the safe. I, being the better climber, climb up to the second floor of this man's house and sneak my way to the room with the safe. Apparently, I had not seen the combination correctly, and by the time I figured this out, I heard the door open. I hid by the door, knocked out the man as he entered, and resumed trying to break into the safe. However, the other rogue who was acting as a lookout signaled that someone was entering the house. So I tried to make an escape, but I was spotted. My first thought was, well, leave no witnesses. After the man who spotted me was dead, I noticed his two brothers watching in horror. TLDR, a short B&E turns into 4 dead humans and 1 Skaven on the run from the party paladin for the rest of his days. Yeah, that sounds like an F around and find out moment. Not giving my big bad evil guy an emergency counterspell so my players wouldn't just plain shift away and start a new life in a completely different area of the world. It was a really anticlimactic ending. There was a huge battle up in a mountain fortress, and once they were in the temple, they had him to one shot. Started to see his point of view, and just left. It wasn't an evil campaign either. I need some context, please? Context! I had written a horror-based campaign that had 8 separate mini-stories that all came together to form a bigger campaign. I like this already. One of my work friends asked to join for a session, so I came up with a separate one-shot to throw them into. I had them read from a magic book that transported them to a separate dimension so that this one-shot stays out of the canon of the main story. Long story short, the magic book made it back into the main campaign, where they've been using it to teleport random NPCs to different dimensions whenever they think it's funny. Which it always is, but it makes it hard for me to get them back on track in the story because every NPC they talk to gets teleported somewhere else. Usually, straight to hell. One of my party members ate a demon and gained its powers. But at the same time, it slowly corrupted his mind. After a while, my ranger realizes something is off about him and mentions it to the rest of the party. The rest of the party realized it too, but passed it off as just a one-time thing. So we let him go check out a village and, he killed all the villagers and destroyed the houses. Yeah, next time, don't let the crazy guy who just ate demon flesh go and check out a village of innocent people. That's a bad idea. My worst mistake was when I was playing as a homebrew earthbender with a metal bending focus from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I cast a spell called Fissure that splits the ground in a line when we were fighting guys on a walkway connecting a small ravine. The kicker is I was the only one to fail the dex save to save myself from falling in, along with an unconscious ally. I managed to salvage the situation since I was basically one of the Republic Police Force metal benders that uses metal cables to get around. It was a fun character to play. Yeah, kinda dug your own hole there, didn't you, buddy? But you got out of it, so there's that. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and of course, leave a comment down below letting us know what your worst mistake was in a D&D game. I love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.